Hey everybody, Jim here with another video for you. Today is Shocktober 2025, episode 31. We made it to Halloween. Happy Halloween, everyone. But before I begin, at the end of this video, please consider giving me a thumbs up, a possible subscribe, but most importantly, leave comments below. Let me know how you feel about this series. Let me know how you feel about the films that I'm about ready to highlight. Now, as I said, today is Halloween, October 31st. Once again, I want to wish each and every one of you a happy and safe Halloween wherever you are. And today we are doing my top 15 favorite horror films from my collection. I want to stress these are based strictly on personal preference. It has nothing to do with quality. These are not the 15 best horror movies of all time, in my opinion. They are simply the ones that I go back to the most or that had the biggest effect on me. So that is the criteria that I used, and I'm sure that there's going to be some titles in here that some people will agree with. There's going to be some other titles in here that people will just be scratching their heads. But again, it's all about personal tastes. And again, the criteria that I used was either how bad did this movie fuck me up and how many times do I watch it? So bearing that in mind, let us begin. We're going to start from 15. We're going to work our way all the way down to number 1. So let's start. Number 15, from the French New Extremity wave of horror at the beginning of the millennium, from 2007, I'm talking about Inside. Now, this is not a movie that I go back to a lot, but this movie had a huge effect on me. Starring Beatrice Daly, Alison Paredes, directed by, I don't even know. I can't even. It's just, this movie's rough, man. It's extremely rough. The gist on this is that a woman is 9 months pregnant, about ready to give birth, and there's a knock at the door in her secluded house out in the middle of nowhere with a woman in a nurse's uniform and a big-ass pair of scissors saying, "Let me in. I'm here for the child." And that's as far as I'll go. This movie goes there, man, and it is a rough watch. But man, is it well done. It's effective, and it's one of those movies that I'll never forget. So that's the reason why it's on this list. So, number 15, Inside. Number 14, from 2007, also. Good year for horror. I had to throw a Stephen King movie on the list, and I'm talking about The Mist. Adapted from the novella from Stephen King from Frank Darabont, who also directed. And this one stars Thomas Jane, Marcia Gay Harden, Laurie Holden, Jeffrey DeMunn, Toby Jones, and Andre Braugher, among others. Also Frances Sternhagen. Got to throw out Frances Sternhagen. She's awesome. I'm not saying that this is my favorite Stephen King movie, okay? It's in the running, okay? But that ending, my God, is just, it's one of those unbelievable, never forgetting where you were the first time you saw endings. Because I'll never forget where I was. I saw this movie on Thanksgiving Day when it was released with my poor mother before dinner. And after that ending, neither of us wanted to eat. We just felt like we had been kicked in the stomach. This is an extremely effective film. A lot of people don't like it because of that ending. That ending is what elevates it to this list. So number 14 is The Mist. Number 13, going all the way back to the 70s, 1976. And Roy, here you go, buddy. Dominos Christos. The Omen. Directed by Richard Donner. Starring Gregory Peck, Lee Remick, and the great David Warner. Also got to shout out Billy Whitelaw, who plays the nanny. She's great. And this movie's great. This might have been the first theatrical horror film I saw. I saw this at the drive-in with my parents and my brother. This was the second movie. They thought that I passed out in the back seat before it started. No. Little Jimmy did not. He stayed awake, and I will never forget the ending when that little bastard turns around and smiles at the camera. The Omen, it's a classic for a reason. Now, Arguably, I would say Damien Omen 2 is more entertaining because it's there's a little more action in it. It's almost like a Final Destination film. But this, to me, is the greatest Satan movie ever. You can talk about The Exorcist all you want. I would much rather watch The Omen. Number 12. This one's a dark horse, but I love this film beyond words. From 1990. Talking about Clive Barker's Nightbreed. Starring Craig Sheffer, Charles Hayde, Doug Bradley, and Bobby, and David Cronenberg as Decker. That's right, you heard me right. Director David Cronenberg, right there, is the main antagonist of this movie. The reason why I love this movie is very simple. Other than it being a really great movie, in my opinion, the concept of monsters being the heroes and the victims, and that the humans are actually the bad guys, to me is wonderful. This is almost like a superhero film where the superheroes are monsters. And it's great. I love this film. Now, when it was released theatrically, it got butchered by the movie company, got a horrible ad campaign, and got dumped and became a flop. And then years later, Scream Factory came out with this beautiful set right here that include that theatrical version, but also the director's cut, which is almost an hour longer. And it just added so much more back to the backstory. I like both versions, quite honestly. I've been in love with this movie since the day one, but I do prefer the director's cut, of course. But again, Nightbreed's one of those very divisive films. Either you like it or you don't. I absolutely adore this film. Number 11. From 1986. We're going with Robert Harmon's The Hitcher. Starring C. Thomas Howell, Jeffrey DeMunn, Jennifer Jason Leigh, and in a career best performance, in my opinion, Rutger Hauer as John Ryder. I think John Ryder is one of the greatest horror villains of all time. I love this film. And again, this movie isn't all that gory. It's all about suspense. A lot of people think that it's slow and that it's boring. Not me. To me, this is like a great Hitchcock-type thriller. And again, C. Thomas Howell, who I always liked, he was a great child actor, in movies like Red Dawn and such. Never better. Rutger Hauer, who is fantastic in everything. Most people point to Blade Runner right away. And Blade Runner and Nighthawks, those are both great performances. I think he's better in The Hitcher. I remember Siskel and Ebert raising holy hell about this movie, making it sound like it was the most violent scene in history, or violent movie in history, and it was mainly because of the scene where Jennifer Jason Leigh is tied up between the two semi-trucks. And they used that scene as an example for years about the masochistic, misogynistic side of horror films, even though they don't show it. It's just like Scarface with the chainsaw. You don't see it. It's all in your imagination. And that's what makes this film so effective. It doesn't need buckets of gore to be an intense, suspense-filled terror ride. I love this film. All right, guys, we're at the top 10. Number 10, and this is probably the newest one on my list, and I fell in love with this movie the moment I watched it. And I'm talking about Train to Busan. This movie's incredible. Never in a million years did I think that a foreign zombie movie would bring me to tears, and this movie does every time I watch it. The characters in this movie are all relatable, and the relationships that they have in this crazy situation is just universal. Doesn't matter what country you're from, what language you speak, you can relate. I love this movie. It's so good. Once it gets going, it does not stop. Generally, I don't like running zombie type movies. This one and the remake of Dawn of the Dead are the exceptions. I think this movie is an absolute masterpiece. Don't bother watching the sequel, Peninsula. It's a piece of shit. Number 9, from 1987, we're going with my second favorite vampire film of all time, Catherine Bigelow's Near Dark. Starring Lance Henriksen, Jeanette Goldstein, Adrian Pasdar, Jenny Wright, Tim Thomerson, and the late, great Bill Paxton in one of his best career performances, as is Lance Henriksen, one of his best performances as well. Paxton, Hendrickson, and Goldstein all reunited again right after they did Aliens together. And the three of them, you could tell that they had a history together, that there's a chemistry there, and they're fantastic as this crazed family of vampires. Joshua Miller is a little boy vampire who completes the group. This movie's awesome. It's more of like a Western than anything. It's not particularly scary either. It's stylistic. It's cool. And like I said, Bill Paxton is awesome as the main vampire in this movie. He's great. There's a scene in a bar that once you see it, you'll never forget it. Finger licking good. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Number 8, we're going back to the 70s. This one was nightmare fuel for me. 1978. Philip Kaufman's version of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Starring Donald Sutherland, Brooke Adams, Leonard Nimoy, Jeff Goldblum, and Veronica Cartwright, among others. This movie's been done 4 or 5 times at least. This is the best version, by far, in my opinion. And this is my version. This is the version that I saw as a child in a theater at 11 years old. And the ending of this movie fried my brain. It's still one of the greatest endings of all time. It never gets old. It's just a great movie. I love this film to death. Excuse me. Number 7. Speaking of Jeff Goldblum, The Fly from 1986. Directed by David Cronenberg and co-starring Gina Davis and John Getz, among others. What can be said about The Fly that hasn't already been said? This movie is incredible. I've never thought of this as a horror film. To me, it is a tragic love story that happens to be very gross. Chris Wallace's special effects are still second to none. This one stands shoulder to shoulder with American Werewolf in London and The Thing as far as great practical effects. It's just an incredible film. Jeff Goldblum has never been better. He should have won an Oscar for this movie. He wasn't even nominated, and I'm still pissed about that 40 years later. This is without a doubt David Cronenberg's most successful film, critically and financially, and quite honestly, it's his best movie overall. I adore The Fly. Number 6 is Sam Raimi's Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn. Starring the incredible Bruce Campbell. I love this movie. I love this movie. Now, a lot of people prefer the original, and I understand why. The original is a pure nightmare fuel horror film. This movie is 50-50 of horror and comedy. And then the third movie, Army of Darkness, of course, is just pure comedy. But this movie walks that tightrope perfectly, in my opinion. And I'll never forget the first time I saw it. Now, I did not see this theatrically. So, hey, don't have a drink, right? I saw this on video. And I was expecting this gnarly, hardcore movie like the first one. And was completely thrown off guard by the comedy. But I got to admit, I was loving every moment of it. And when it was all said and done, I rewound that VHS and I watched it again. I love this movie to death. I could watch this once a week, every week, for the rest of my life, and it would never get old. Groovy. Top 5, guys. Number 5 from 1985. And I'm actually going to watch this one tonight. Stuart Gordon's Reanimator. Starring Jeffrey Combs, Bruce Abbott, and the lovely, lovely Barbara Crampton. I love Barbara Crampton and have been ever since I saw this movie. Reanimator, like Evil Dead 2, walks that line between comedy and horror perfectly. And in this case, it cranks it up to 11. This movie is absolutely insane. If you looked up the term batshit crazy movie in the dictionary, it would simply have a picture of this movie. I can't even go on to describe how crazy this movie gets. You'll never see or you'll never hear the world or the expression going down on somebody the same way again after seeing this movie. It's just a wonderful movie. Again, not for everybody, but it is for me. It never gets old. I love Reanimator to death. And again, tonight I'm going to watch this on a double feature with From Beyond. Number 4, my favorite vampire film of all time, from 1985, which was a great year for horror. Fright Night, starring Chris Sarandon, William Ragsdale, Amanda Bierce, and the late, great Roddy McDowall as Peter Vincent. I said it in a video a couple of days ago when I was talking vampires. To me, Roddy McDowall was born to play Peter Vincent. It's just a great role, and he's great in the role. Chris Sarandon is awesome as the vampire. The rest of the kids aren't all that great. Okay, let's be honest. William Ragsdale, Amanda Bierce, they're not very good actors, but it doesn't matter because the adults in the room are, and this movie is awesome in every way. Top 3. Number 3, the greatest slasher of all time, in my opinion, A Nightmare on Elm Street, directed by Wes Craven, starring Heather Langenkamp, Robert Englund, John Saxon, and introducing Johnny Depp. 1984, I was working at that theater as a usher, and this movie came out, and I was lucky enough to see it. Why the heck is my... I was lucky enough to see this movie in the theater the night before it was released, in an empty theater, after hours, by myself. It's the most terrifying experience I ever had in a movie theater. It's my favorite cinematic experience I've ever had in my life. I will never forget the first time watching this film, and again, it never, ever gets old. Number 2, the greatest horror film of all time, in my opinion, is George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead. From 1978, although it didn't get a wide release until 1979, this movie stars Ken Foree, David Emge, Scott Redinger, and Galen Ross, among others. When I said that this is the greatest horror film of all time, I meant it. I think that this is just head and shoulders the best. Practical effect-wise, story-wise, it's just an incredibly influential film, and it's one that, to this day, people look back on it and say, yep, that's the one. It's just an incredible achievement. Now, some of the special effects don't really hold up as much as they do, like, say, in Day of the Dead from Tom Savini as well, but it doesn't matter. The effects are still awesome in this movie, and some of those kills still hold up. The blood pressure scene, the helicopter scene, the woman getting chewed on by her husband at the beginning, all of them are still visceral. All of them are great. I love Dawn of the Dead. But number 1 on my list, to nobody's surprise who knows me, is from 1982, and it's John Carpenter's The Thing. Starring Kurt Russell, Keith David, Wilford Brimley. This movie's a masterpiece in storytelling, direction, special effects, and acting. I've said it before, you could take all of the gore, all of the effects out of this film, boil it down just to the story, and it would still be the best movie about paranoia ever made. I adore this film and always will. I could watch this every day. It never gets old. So to recap, my 15 favorite horror films from my collection. Number 1 is The Thing. Number 2 is Dawn of the Dead. Number 3 is A Nightmare on Elm Street. Number 4 is Fright Night. Number 5 is Reanimator. Number 6 is Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn. 7 is The Fly. 8 is Invasion of the Body Snatchers. 9 is Near Dark. 10 is Train to Busan. 11 is The Hitcher. 12 is Nightbreed. 13 is The Omen. 14 is The Mist. And 15 is Inside. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this list. If you did, please consider giving me a thumbs up, a possible subscribe, but most importantly, leave those comments below. Before we wrap it up, I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you who tuned in this month for Shocktober. I also want to thank my five incredible guests that I had on Shooting the Shit this month. Matt from Pugwall 316 Studios. Andy from Forgotten World of Movies. Bryan at the Horror Punk. And Meka and Kira from the Double Feature Podcast. All 5 of you were incredible guests, and I cannot thank you enough for appearing on my show. That's it for Shocktober, guys. 31 videos. I had 10 live appearances this month and multiple community posts and shorts. And to be honest, I am exhausted. So, as of right now, Jim's movie channel is closed for the foreseeable future. I am not planning on doing any content in the month of November, with the exception of one live show towards the end of the month, and I'll let you guys know more about that as we get closer to it, and if I do any pickup videos. That's it. Other than that, you won't be hearing from me at all this month as far as videos go. I will be dropping community posts, and I will still be appearing on my live show with Sean and Kenny. That will not change. Thank you so much to each and every one of you for all of your support. We'll see you in a month.